That was trippy, man.
Yeah.
That was trippy. It's good good information. It gives me a lot to think about. There's a lot of people talking about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
One of them's not going. Let's see, we're live. We're live on 4. Huh. There it goes. All right. We're live on welcome on the live and the replay. We're just getting started. Got our brother Andrew in the house. And gonna play the intro real quick and let people come in. Be right back. Minute 19 seconds. How's it going, everybody? We got Andrew Rawlings in the house in Tasmania. What's happening? What's going on?
Not much, mate. Just a cool, quiet weekend.
Cool, quiet weekend. Hell, I'm burning up. It's getting cold over here, and I'm sweating all the time. I'm overheating.
Same here. I keep changing my clothes all the time.
I think we got massive energy downloads happening all through October.
Yesterday felt huge.
Yeah. I think yesterday, I can't remember any of the days anymore, but yesterday I remember I went down, Morgan went down, just like, whew, like what's happening?
Yeah, I've been getting home from work and just crashing, just make myself coffee, go and sit down with the dog somewhere and just wiped out for an hour,
And the sleep.
You go from that to feeling like you've injected caffeine, and then it's just go, 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 go.
I feel like I've just been up until yesterday. Through yesterday, I've just been like integrating, like defragging. Like I just felt like I was here, but I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I watched Lori Ladd's video. I don't watch too many videos, but I watched most of her video. I think she put out yesterday. She was talking about she had a lot of people asking her about the event.
Yep.
And the flash, and she equated it to December, but she had a really good explanation about it in regard to the way she explained it. But other than that, most of what I'm seeing out there is politically polarizing,
to say the least.
I mean, it really is. If you think about, everything's so complicated, or well, at least seems complicated. And I've been getting more and more, guidance to step up and do more like I used to, do more solo shows, do more spirit walks, speak about the things that are happening that are coming through to me. Not that they're gospel, but to like just say, hey, wait a minute, we need to simplify this. This is not as complicated as we make it out to be. And so as an example, if you look at programming, whether it be fear-based programming or savior-based programming or anything else out there being fed by the collective stream, let's put it that way, the stream that's been dominant, let's put it that way, that it's all about divisiveness. It doesn't matter what the issue is. If something is giving you a charge that's uh, having you pick a side. You know, God, goddess, source, universe doesn't pick sides. There are no sides
There's
to pick.
nothing outside of God
Yeah.
of source, is there? That's
No. And so it's like, hey, you know, wake up. But, you know, we just did that show with those two, the father and the son, Evan and Stephen Strong. And somebody came on there that I've done some shows with that unfriended me, you know, with no explanation, which is fine. That's happened to me a lot. But they came on and said, "This is not the truth." Like, who the fuck are you? You know,
yeah.
who is anybody? Who the fuck am I to go
None
and
of us have
tell
got the truth.
people, yeah, that you don't have the truth? Nobody knows the truth. If you think you know the truth, then
No.
you got another thing coming. But I don't mean to get volatile about it, but yeah, I mean, oneness is oneness. I mean, what else? What else is there? I mean, what else is there to talk about? You know, I mean, and then there was a couple of ladies on the comments that were reflecting that, and they were saying, you know what, just 0 point the heck out of anything that makes you, you know, have a charge one way or the other. But I mean, I think really at some point you just got to say, you know what, I mean, cut to the chase, take responsibility, 0 point anything that, you know, that makes you feel imbalanced or upset or whatever the case is, and take your focus off of everything outside of yourself, because other than to allow you to detect where you need to go work, even if you don't understand your biases and your prejudices and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, well, you're looking at Trump, Biden, whatever it is, you're looking at the whole thing. If you see them as being outside of source, then it has to be everything. It has to be every single atom in the universe, or nothing.
Yeah, it does, and also the the sovereignty, the self realization, and the self responsibility, because you know it's not okay. So, for instance, if and I could, you know, we've got that David Icke interview coming up on the 18th of November, which I'm real excited about, to discuss things consciously, not to get into debate. And I agree with a lot of the stuff pretty much that he says. He's done a lot of research over 30 years, but like, for instance, you know, just you know, this, and I'm not, I don't have a political affiliation. I don't have, my only thing is I don't want to see people giving their power away to jumping on bandwagons and movements. So that's why I bring up Q sometimes in Trump. I'd love for the white hats to be behind the scenes working with the Galactic Federation, that everything's going to be okay. It's already okay.
And they may well be.
They may well be, and that would be a great storyline. But there's also a myriad of infinite other storyline possibilities that could occur. But if I look at, for instance, the whole Trump Q thing, I mean, to me, it's another carrot on the stick. I mean, 4 years ago, we were told we would be given the information about the JFK assassination.
Yep.
You know, I saw 2 days ago he was asked about UFOs, and you get some bullshit answer.
Yeah.
I mean,
when someone going to stand up and actually just own it.
Exactly. You know, the child trafficking. He was addressed that on the town hall that he did yesterday, and about Q. And he said, "Well, they're against child trafficking." Well, yeah, I get that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're in that situation, and if these things are really going on, why hasn't the Federal Reserve been taken over? Why hasn't you know, somebody come out, and he's got the mouth to do it? Why hasn't he come out and said, "Hey, there's child traffickers, and I'm going to tell you who they are"? You know, whatever it may be, secret space program, ETs. I mean, who in the hell are these people to think that they are so special that they can hide the truth from us? Because what? They're trying to protect us? Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah. Bull fucking shit. I'm sorry.
To just mold us,
I'm tired, and I've said 3 F-bombs already, but I'm serious. Like, why don't you just come out and say what you know? You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't make any sense to me. Are we the only community that believes in the I am soul, that we're eternal souls, that we're here to learn and play and, and see everything in the right light. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just sick and tired of this. I'm really getting
It's
tired of
almost like the whole shit show is designed for us to see how ridiculous it's all become.
Exactly.
And it escalates more and more and more, and then it just wakes us all up to that's not the real thing. This system, the society, and what we normally conform to, and feeling small, feeling like individuals, feeling like we've got to go and get something from outside of ourselves to make us whole. Like,
yeah,
once you start seeing and feeling the oneness as it really is, then you can look at anybody. Like, when I first started doing conspiracy research and learning about the reserve banking system and all these secret brotherhoods and all this sort of thing, I had a real sort of, I got a massive amount of judgment for like a couple of years. It was just nonstop, just trying to get to the bottom of things and telling everybody all about it and pointing the big finger and saying, look how bad this is, look how bad that is, The whole time there's four fingers pointing back at me.
That's right.
And yeah.
And how could you not? How could you not have a charge? I love Dawn's comment here earlier. She says, raw meat, I don't get a charge.
Yeah.
But
when you can look at the same people again now, and picture someone like Jacob Rothschild, which used to seen a photo of him, I used to just go, oh, these are the people we've got to we've got to overcome this, and but now I look at him and I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for Trump. I feel sorry for Biden. I feel sorry for any of this sort of, not so much Trump and Biden and all that sort of thing. It's more like you look at people that you used to judge massively, and now I look at them and think, man, you're just another cell in the same organism as me.
That's
and
right.
You've played this part, which has brought us to where we are now. So
yeah. And who's to say we haven't played all the other parts,
Yeah, we've played all of them.
I mean, it's we know the energy speaks to us metaphorically. I mean, that's the easiest way, I think, from my standpoint, to understand things, to get messages, whether it be a lucid dream or whether I run into you at the grocery store as a stranger to stranger and we have an interaction or whatever the case is. I love what this guy said, and I'm not sure. I think it was Stephen, I think is the father, Stephen Strong, of the show we just did.
Yeah.
And in talking to the elders of the Aboriginal elders over there, where he gets his information and who he's working with, and they said, look, man, and again, I'm looking at this metaphorically. Some people aren't going to make it. Most people aren't going to make it. And this guy was saying, well, what do you mean? I mean, I think there's going to be at least like 50%. And then the number got down to 10%, and then ends up getting to 2%. And because the Aboriginal elders were saying, do you see idiots out there? And it's not the point whether there are idiots out there. The point is, where does it give you a charge?
Yeah.
Because if you see someone as an idiot, then you are taking a high-minded, sanctimonious superiority stance, whether you like it or not.
Separates you from your true self. It's just another egoic illusion of who you think you are.
Exactly. Yeah. And to me, the number one place is division. Because anything you look at, if you look at the powerless powers that be and the whole strategy for the last 6,000 years or whatever it may be, it's been there's been a control of both sides of an equation. So you have a false opposition when you really have one playing in, look, Clinton and Bush, perfect example. Clinton and Bush, two parties, they came out publicly, they're opposing, they take shots at each other, yet they ran the biggest cocaine business in the world in the 1990s, in Arkansas. So when are we going to stop buying the bullshit and the narratives and stop wishfully thinking that someone's going to come in here and save us? It's us. That's it. Period. And it just doesn't seem dynamic enough and fantastic enough that one person can make a difference. But absolutely, one person can make a difference. There's no doubt in my mind.
Look at Jesus.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. And many that we've never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at this lady, Amma, that Indian lady that just walks around and hugs people, man. I mean, the highest, purportedly the highest frequency of the mother goddess energy on the earth incarnated. I mean,
that's the new human.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to boil over, not in a bad way, but like if I don't see someone out there or something out there speaking what is the only truth there is. I mean, there's only oneness. And you either
that's what frustrated me so much about being in following the QAnon and all this sort of thing and thinking, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, like they're going to be exposed, that's going to be taken down, we're going to get our power back and everything. It's all outside of us. It's, you know, but the true power is just finding out who you are. Like I think I told you in our last chat how a few years back I just crashed. My legs sort of fell out from under me. Yeah, like emotionally speaking, like anxiety, and you know, I even had a panic attack one day, and I'm like, what the hell? I've got a good life. I've got a beautiful family. Got a beautiful wife. I've got everything a guy could need, and I'm falling to bits. Like, what's going on? But then it's not until it all crumbles away and you see what's left and you realize that that's just all the Lego bricks that you've built up into this imaginary person that you thought you were, or that you've been told that you were. And that's just so grateful to have have it all crumble away, and just, it's like, wow, I'm still here. This is me. Like,
you know, I think that's one thing that I don't, you know, how do I say this? That, okay, I'm not going to say that one thing that's going to happen, but one thing that seems to be very common in stories like yours and mine and the people that view this programming is that things get taken away from you. Things get taken away from you if you don't listen, because once you wake up, so to speak, and thank those like David Icke and those like him who came out with these truths, that truth is stranger than fiction, so that it did start us on a path to waking up. And we got pissed off, and we got charged by it, and eventually
we had to. It was part of the process.
Absolutely, it was. It's part of the purging, and we had to, and we eventually learned you can't feed the monster, so be careful what you put before you. But it's like I don't know where I was going with that. I forgot now, but I don't know. I just see a real need for some commentary and programming that revolves around. And I'm not talking fluffy love and light, that. I'm talking about taking personal responsibility for your hand and my hand in what's happening collectively, because to think that it doesn't matter. Now, I would say something like this: to vote doesn't matter. Okay. To take stock in yourself and appraise yourself, to take a fearless moral inventory of yourself, to expand yourself and do that shadow work and do that zero pointing. That's the real thing. That's how we really can contribute.
That's how we change the world. Yeah. Just change it from the inside out. I mean, if I'm just a normal everyday Aussie carpenter, I'm just a guy, but if something can happen that just totally melts my heart and opens it and changes my whole life the way it has, and to be able to see the world now the way I do, right, as opposed to just looking at all the crap I was into a couple of years ago, sort of not seeing the other side, or not zooming out and seeing the bigger picture, seeing that it is just one entity playing out
Yeah.
infinite amount of roles, and
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't see it. I couldn't,
And to
just couldn't
feed,
picture it.
yeah, and to feed the magic, like to feed the imagination, like what you just said a minute ago. How many people have attempted to close their eyes and rise above the earth and take a look at it, take a look
Mm,
at the grid? You know, you know what I mean? Like
yep.
when people, I read an account the other day of a really cool dude who I'm going to try to get on. He's a Hollywood director, a black guy who really worked his way up, and a lot of racism and that type of thing he had to contend with. But he was saying that I think he was in Hawaii and he got into a car accident, and he, like a lot of people with NDEs or out of bodies, he rose above the accident, as a lot of people have reported,
Mm,
like in the hospital room and all. And he looked down at everything, and it wasn't that it wasn't the story of, oh my God, I saw myself and I saw the ambulance. It was his thoughts. He said, wait a minute, who is this looking down?
mm,
It was a God moment.
yeah.
And I think we've all had them. We've maybe shut them down or maybe said, oh, that's, I'm crazy or whatever. But we can plug into this anytime we want to.
Mm,
We really can. We really can. I've been working on a lot of self-healing physical things. I don't have a lot of problems, but I'm like going in and I'm looking at my lungs and I'm looking at my
mm,
organs and I'm looking at my blood circulation and I'm looking at my teeth and I'm looking at my vision, which isn't 2020, but yeah, I mean, we can do this, man. We can recalibrate our DNA. We can tap into any stream of consciousness that has been and
mm.
is.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of those sorts of visuals and things. Imaginative visualizations, like you say,
Mm.
where you imagine zooming out and looking at the
Well,
big
that's
picture and everything.
yeah,
But
but that's real.
there's a couple that probably 15 or 16 months ago, I woke up. It wasn't this tree, but one of the other apricot trees outside our bedroom window. I woke up, opened my eyes, and I'm looking at this tree, and it was covered in green leaves, just laden with fruit. And I'm just going, oh man, that's beautiful. That's lovely.
Right.
And as I was looking at it, like this birds, everything's just completely, totally, and utterly realistic. As I was looking at it, it faded back away to the bare branches because it was the middle of winter.
Yeah.
That's
See.
just as I woke up. And so I'm thinking, if that can be that realistic in my waking state with my own two eyes looking out my bedroom window at my apricot tree, like, wow, like if it almost seems more real than
Yeah.
than day-to-day stuff. But it's like people say, your perception, how you see things, is how they are. And I think that's what it was. It was a
Yeah.
message that, like, you're going to see things in life the way you choose to see them, or you can, if you want to, you can see things how you choose to. You don't have to look at something and just go, oh, that's bad, or that's
That's
good.
right.
You
That's right.
decide.
In the programming, in the conditioning, in the previous incarnations, in the ancestral lineage, it runs deep, man.
Mm,
I mean, it runs so deep we don't realize the intricacies of our biases and prejudices. We would even be, uh, kind of put off by that and say, I'm not prejudiced, I'm not biased. But in terms of gender, in terms of race, in terms of sexual preference, in terms of religion, country, it runs deep, and it takes a conscious full court press all the time. And I think we've reached a point now where we can be conscious of our thoughts, which I think is the most important thing. Our most
mm,
important thing, regardless of what we say, because we've all been there. We say one thing, we do another, and we certainly, if we don't want to admit that about ourselves, we can admit it about other people. Which, if we
mm.
see it in other people, it's got to be alive in us. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you can say one thing and do another, and you certainly, think another, and you can certainly do something and think another. That's why we all repress things and suppress things and created illness in our bodies. But the thoughts, like, I think we've got enough information now about ourselves and about the illusion of what we thought was reality that we can now be consistent, at a minimum, be very consistent in our conscientiousness, in our consciousness, in terms of what thoughts we carry forward, because we're still going to get certain thoughts, we're still going to get certain thoughts, but the question is, where do you go with it? Do you integrate it and zero point it? Like this person that came on the previous show, and made these comments. And the first thing I thought, that's sanctimonious, high-minded, bitch. That's exactly what I thought. I'm just being honest. And then I got off the show and I said, wait a minute, that's my deal. So I pull that person up, I look at him until I see me, and I know that sounds, but I think that's the kind of maintenance it takes.
You've got to be willing to look deeply at things that bug you like that. And you do. It always comes back, oh, hang on a minute. It might not be the same extent of things, but that is in me. That is in me. That is in me. And then they just sort of, when you recognize them and look at them, suddenly you step back and you've got the ability to change it. You're no longer just a robotic victim to your programmed judgments and emotions and all of that crap. You get to decide.
Yeah, and when you do that, you are actually, for the human word, healing, for the divine human, aligning yourself. This comment here from Scarlett, beautiful Scarlett. She says, I'm getting huge help from the sun. Now, the reason I pulled that up is because that's another thing that's becoming pretty obvious. And I know a lot of people talk about it, and everybody's got their own, you need to do this and you have to do that, which scares me when people say that stuff. But there's something about the natural, like you talked about with the tree, right? There's something about tuning in or aligning with the natural nature of everything, and which predominantly is going to be easier to be found, like in your backyard, in nature. She's talking about the sun. I mean, these things are unobstructed. Our normal interaction had been through the illusion. Oh, I saw Andrew, he said this, and what did he mean? And, he's an asshole, or I'm an asshole for thinking this. And that whole thing starts, and it gets all convoluted real quick. And the next thing you know,
it's over nothing half the time.
Of course. So it's distraction, distortion, and division is the way I see it. And the division is the number one methodology to, even if you argue with someone, you put up a post, somebody says, hey, that's not right. And then you start arguing with them. You're in separation immediately. You put up your post, let it go, and move on. So it's not always like the antagonist that is carrying the charge. It's also, the person that was attacked, at least, in the way it looked. One's not better than the other. Division is division, separation. So
oneness is oneness. That's it.
Yeah,
it's all or nothing.
But back to that, what I was saying about the nature. Here's our dear sister Vera. After 6 months in nature full time without being in any linear environment, realigns everything back to the origin, connecting and co-creating with the elements.
I can vouch for that 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could be living in the middle of New York City and find some nature. I mean, I've done it. I did it in the Bronx, 3 trees in the back of an apartment building.
Or just a pigeon. It could be a worm. It's just recognizing yourself as being a part of that whole, rather than we're humans, we're over here doing this. and nature's nature. That's what we do on weekends. You know, it's
Yeah.
recognize ourselves as just as equal parts of nature, and but
Or find our natural rhythm through that
yeah,
process is, I guess, or bring yourself back to it if you're not in a situation like Veer and Augusta you're in, where you're there day in, day out, which is
yeah,
fantastic. I mean, I can walk out. We spend a lot of time in the garage because what y'all call the shed, because we're looking at a forest behind us. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I mean, there's something about that. You know, there's just something about being able to do that, and you can find your place. You can find it in your backyard. You can find it
yep.
in.
Yeah, I'm outside nearly all the time when I'm not working. You know, especially the sunsets after work. To stand barefoot in the dirt and watch the sun go down, oh man,
Yeah.
it just melts your soul, and there's something more to it. You're not just looking at a burning ball in
No,
space.
no,
There's a connection, and all of a sudden you feel like
we're
you
tapped into
feel the
all that.
oneness. It's not
Yeah,
just oneness because someone tells you it is. It's you can actually feel like
true.
that. Yeah,
I
that's what's made such a difference to me. Right?
has it. Yeah, I've you know, um, Morgan 5 years ago introduced me to Helios Gamos, which was part of our path, uh, merging energy etherically. And so as time went on, I started trying it with other things. Animals, very, very cool. But even stars, the moon, the sun. And I would like with the star, sometimes if I look up and I see a star and it's jumping out at me, which just for me might be that I can see a blue and a red, or it's just sparkling. I'll look at the star and then I will change places, right?
Hmm.
Like I will go to the star and feel it and be it, and then turn around and look at me. You
That's
know what I mean?
crazy that you said that. The very last thing I did last night before I went to bed
Yeah,
was
right.
wandering around outside, looking at, like there's Mars and there's this, there's that. I'm looking at it, I'm going, I'm you,
Yeah,
I'm you, I'm you,
yeah,
I'm you, I'm you. You know, there's only one of us here,
that's right.
just
That's right.
playing the characters.
Yeah, I go through
So
this.
there is no enemy. There is no,
No,
the
no,
takedown of the cabal and the pedophiles and all this sort of things. That's all going to be something that naturally happens because it has to.
sure it
It's going
does.
to
It's a natural.
naturally occur
Yeah, it's a natural
without
cycle.
white hats and QAnons and things like that.
Yeah.
It's us. It's when
Well,
we know in our heart and claim the sovereignty, all that stuff just has to evaporate.
true.
So rather than staring at it like I used to focus on that so much, now I look, I think, right, what do I want to build?
Yeah,
How, what's next?
yeah.
What's coming?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you want to
Mm,
create with these superpowers? Well,
mm.
it's a fine line, and I'm sitting here starting the show going, "Oh, I feel like I need to say something." That is coming from, from my higher self or whatever. Uh, but at the same time, do I? You got to be careful. Like, is it even worth talking about? It's almost like you want to just go
Exactly.
hole up somewhere and just let, like a turtle, just put your head in the shell and let all the shit fly, and then you come out when it's paradise.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know.
But
Everybody's
maybe we're the ones that are doing it, like the normal everyday 99%. We're the ones that are changing the world, like by changing ourselves. We
That's
do
right.
the zero pointing, the shadow work, dive into all the dark, crusty corners of yourself.
Yeah.
That
Or we're the ones sustaining it, right?
yeah,
Like I feel for Melbourne, for Victoria, Melbourne
mm,
specifically, because I know that's tighter in that city. And I'll tell Morgan, and again, you got to be careful. I'm not trying to like perpetuate anything. I'm just asking a question out of childlike curiosity. Why don't people just all come out of their house at the same time and march down the street and say fuck this? And I hear, well, because they'll get fined or they'll get arrested or they'll have their social
fucking televisions. That's why.
Right. You know,
Uh,
and yeah, I mean,
they've been
it's
made to feel small, made to feel separate, made to feel powerless.
yeah,
If it is, it's like a lion waking up. Like I saw a couple of posts the other day. I don't know if it was one that you shared that had the Babylon has fallen. You know, this has fallen, that is falling, this is changing, that's changing, and the lion is waking up, and that's what
yeah,
it feels like.
yeah,
It's the lion is it's not the savior who's coming to fix everything for us. The lion is the 90, well, the 100%.
yeah,
How
yeah,
do you exclude the 1%? It has to be the whole human race. We're all
yeah.
playing each part, you know.
And that's another thing too, because like you know, people talk about the Trump and Biden and Q and whatever, Antifa and George Soros and the Rothschilds and the Queen, you know, and all that. But it it continues above them, right? Like it can be archons, Anunnaki, it can be things we've never even heard of.
Yep.
And to me, that's still external. Like it's still external. It's still part of the story,
Yeah.
you know.
Still playing a
It's not
valid part.
changing. Yeah, it's not gonna nothing is going to change what I am, who I am, and what I'm a part of. Nothing is going to change that, no matter what. It's just not going to change. The only thing that can change is my perception, which was hijacked, you know, anyway. But
Yep.
we've got to hold on that now. There's enough of us here. I mean, we've got to hold on this thing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's getting.
And you can
I
feel
think
it,
the
like
rich.
you see in people's faces when you know interacting with people, normal everyday life. Like people are changing. It's
I
not
know they
just.
are.
It
I
seems
know they are.
it's not just the light worker community. It's not just the Christian community. It's not just
No.
the truth seekers. There's something going on. There's something going on at a deeper. Like you walk through the supermarket and people just strangers you never seen before. People just smiling and just beaming. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you still got the other end of the scale, but or
Yeah.
maybe it's just my perceptions changed, and now I see
Well,
because
I
I
think
now
that's how.
see humanity differently, and so it appears differently.
Yeah. Um, that's right. And like, okay. So you have one in one regard. You what are you observing? Like, you know, what arenas do you enter? What spaces do you enter? And then you have another one, which is uh, what am I watching on? Forget about mainstream media. What am I watching on YouTube? What am I reading on Facebook?
Yeah, because anything you want to find is there.
That's right.
Anything. It's
And a big one for me is the interaction. That's why I don't comment. You'll never
Yep.
hardly ever see me comment and say thank you or F you. You know, I just won't do it. I've been there, done that. I'm moved to put something out, and I'm not speaking because of me. I'm talking about every one of us. We're moved to post something or share something. Don't look back.
and move on.
Yeah, just move on. And because if we, this is how I learned for myself and still learn is I start like, why did I say that? Like, why did I write that? You know, and I've found that, you know, when in doubt, don't do anything.
Exactly.
Just shut
I've
up.
written so many posts I've written and just sat there on it and then just deleted it. It's
Yeah.
sit and look at something that you've written for long enough and realize, hang on a minute, is this me trying to share my vision, my sort of opinion on something, or is this me trying to look like I know something? You know,
Yeah.
is this me trying to make myself look like I know it? You know, is it me just being arrogant? You know, and so yeah, it's
Well, we're all susceptible to those things. We can all think we're real clever. And of
yeah,
course, getting information from the universe can make you fit. And why wouldn't you? Man, this is such a beautiful fucking ride. It
mm,
really, really is when you think about it. If you can just pull back And you know, one of the things I'm noticing too, it's certainly happening with in my life, uh, is the people that are doing the inner work and that are coming to these higher revelations and epiphanies doesn't mean in a high-minded way. It just means you can tell by the wealth of their experience, like what's happening in their life, you know,
Mm.
like, is it getting easier? Is your relationship getting easier? You know, is your abundance coming more fluidly? I mean, you can't argue with this stuff.
Yep.
You really can't. And I think this last part of the year, there's going to be huge, gigantic activations that look both real ugly and real beautiful.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's
seriously.
coming. There is, like they say, there's a storm coming, but it's,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
it's
right.
how you react to it. You know,
Yeah.
don't let it blow you away.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, just think about it. Think about this for the sake of the conversation and to suggest that we stay on our, you know, don't get knocked off your square. Well, we could have no election. We could have uh, a Biden wins and Trump won't hand over power. Trump wins, and I mean there could be all these different scenarios, but it's not. It's not the deal.
Yep.
You know, it's not the deal.
It's a symptom of the main of the deal of the main event.
Well,
It's like
it's a
it,
distraction.
like
It's
people
it,
talk about the Great Awakening all
yeah.
the time, and so many people refer to that as finding out about bad people and Trump and QAnon, and they call that the Great Awakening. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, that to me is a symptom of the Great Awakening. The Great
Yeah,
Awakening's within us
yeah,
globally, and yes, it's there is information from externally that's coming out that we didn't have access to before,
yeah,
but it's yeah, we just it's like what's been done to with Christianity over the years. How I mean, a guy like Jesus, he comes here. He's come to show the way, to teach
yeah.
the way, to teach us who and what we are. It's not like I don't remember seeing any part in there where Jesus says, "Believe in me, or you're going to go to hell."
Yeah.
You know, I just think that the editors went a bit crazy. You know,
Hmm.
but
That's
that's
right.
the heart and the soul. You like I quite often, I haven't for a bit, but quite often will read certain verses from the Bible, but it'll only be
Yeah,
what Jesus did, what Jesus said, what was actually happening on the ground,
yeah,
not taking it all as gospel, so to speak, but just to get to know, get a feeling of that soul, of that essence.
yeah,
And then it just sort of rises up within you, you know. And
yeah,
it, it's, I think that's what we're all becoming. We're all like, you know, all these things you shall do and more, you know, that's where we're headed. It's not, and it's not about saying, hey, look at me, I can walk on water, or look at me, I can heal somebody. It's just being
hmm,
our natural state.
yeah. That's a good comment from Clementine. Soul evolution is independent of Trump or Biden. However, they will affect your external reality. So I like that point because they will not affect your internal reality,
No,
and your internal reality is what's going to create your external reality. So it's kind of a, what is it, like an oxymoron for a word, but you know, I mean, but I guess that's what we were saying earlier to the top of the show is like nothing. I mean, if 4,200 you know, Anunnaki spaceships landed tomorrow and said we're taking over your world, that would still not uh, diminish the illumination of the soul, although the person that's in command of their unique soul could give their power away. Well, but what's the difference between doing it in that scenario or doing it with a movement or a political affiliation or a religious conviction? You know, I mean, there's no difference.
exactly.
Pauline says, "Chop wood, carry water." There we go.
Exactly. The real stuff. Yeah. It's not like it's not like we're going to become these magical things and to show off to people. It's we're not trying to make ourselves more than anybody else. If you do that, it's obviously not going to. It's not a genuine thing.
I go back to that thing that guy said, Stephen Strong, that the Aboriginals said, do you know any, because he said, how many people are going to be in this group over here that's going to make it? Which, I don't resonate with everything people say, but, they're on the show, but I know what he meant. And then he says, so the guy says to him, do you know any idiots? So Stephen was telling me the story, not about other people, about himself.
Yeah.
Because he finally told the guy, I don't guess I'm going to make it. Because he was being honest about it. He was saying, I think there's some idiots out there. So that means I got work to do,
Yeah, judgment's such a huge thing. But I just look around now and I just think, well, where's the enemy,
Yeah.
If it's all creator or source playing it all out.
Yeah.
I remember an Alan Watts video where he was talking about the word person and where it originated from, and per, the first part, per is the mask and son is the sound of the voice. So it's just a mask that the great actor or wears to play every part. So a person is just a mask that the creator speaks through, so that it can experience everything.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, just never really think too much about the origin of words and
I know
etymology. How they can be, just take it for granted.
I know. And etymology is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. I saw a post, Robert Sepper, that guy that does is Atlantean Gardens, and he just put up a post. I think it was about a video that he was doing, but it had a picture of a mummy, and it was a priestess with red hair in pretty good condition. I mean, you know how those Egyptian mummies can be. And it said, this is so-and-so, the mother of Amen Hotep. Right? Now I'm just looking at the word going, wait a minute, there's Amen and then Hotep. And then it was the mother of this one and the grandmother of King Tut, but it was do you see the words? And even like Allah, if you look at the etymology of Allah, or what's the other one? Or even if you look at the etymology of Yeshua and Yahweh. I mean, there's some serious...
The numbers, the numerology in that. That's wow.
I mean, if nothing else, it may not give you... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I used to make a joke to myself that, God's up there saying you're going to have to go down and fix things. Yeah. And he's like, no way. And God's like, Yahweh. No way. Yeah.
and you know what? Maybe that's it, right? Like maybe we were up, maybe that's us who we are. Maybe we said, hey, or we were told, or we said to ourselves, I need to go down there and fix things. And maybe that's what yes. And that's why I always say, maybe there's 7.7 billion Earths, 7.7 billion different gods and goddesses running them. I mean, I don't know. There's something inside of me that tells me that any soul on the face of the earth, while it's incarnated, can affect the entire realm.
Yep.
I believe it.
The ripples on the pond.
I absolutely. And it doesn't have to be publicized. It could be, I mean, there's people all over the world that are proving it, that have proven it, that have come on this show. Yes, it's an Australian accent. He's from Tasmania.
Yep.
Where I hope to be for too long. Yeah. Scarlett says she got tricked into coming back. See, I'm the one that I know I'm the one that just went up there, and as soon as the trip's over, I'm like, I'm the first one back down.
Yeah,
that,
I
that
used to want to escape all the time. I used to be like,
right.
oh, come on, who's going to save us? Let's get out of here, because you just know that there was something else. Know that there's this pure, blissful,
Yeah.
weightless state, that we're more than what we are. But now it's like, hell no, I'm not missing this for the world.
No, I
If
don't,
I
man.
died
I want
today,
to.
I'd be lining up. I'd be in the queue for the slide. I want to come back.
I mean, I want to be here for
Yep,
whatever
good or
comes,
bad.
and it could be all kinds of things. And I think the other thing too that I keep telling myself, it's not as bad as it used to be, but what I keep telling myself is, don't take it personal. And what I mean by that is,
Yep.
don't personalize it onto a person. If somebody seemingly personally affront, does something, whatever, I try my best now to look at it as energy as best I can,
Yep.
and I have my days, but I mean, like, for the most part, it's pretty smooth for me now. I look, okay, this energy just presented itself. I can't always figure it out. And I just, recognize it. And I guess, etherically embrace it and then move on. And sometimes it comes back to me like, this is what that was for, or whatever. Yeah.
And it seems to be happening quicker now too. Like things
Yeah.
that normally
Yeah.
get your hackles up, now you just go, oh, hang on a minute, there's a judgment. And then it just sort of evaporates.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing too.
I've learned.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say, I've learned so much from just listening to other people on Soulogy and the chats and like other places as well. Just the everyday normal people, the wisdom that, like, every morning I get up, I'm having breakfast, getting ready to go to work. Maddie Schaefer from New Zealand comes on, and tour of the garden. I mean,
she's cool, man.
It's just so bright and bubbly. What a way to start.
She's the real deal. She's been on a few times. She's been on
the
a few
wisdom,
times.
the different perspectives that I've got from her, and she's sort of introduced me to, what's his name, Joe Dispenza. So I've just only just started watching a few of Joe Dispenza's videos and things, and man, to be able to put everything from a scientific point of view. This is actually what's going on. This is the energy does this, and if you choose this will happen.
It's truly wow. It's like truly all an offering of code, and you can go seek it.
Yep.
You can follow the signs and stuff, but like even these two gentlemen that were on earlier, there was a lot of information, man, they threw out. There was a lot of things I could have gone into, but I just knew this was the way it needed to go down. But even like, I'm gonna give a different example. I went to Sedona for the 6th time, just, a while back. And I've got some friends there, or acquaintances or whatever, contemporaries that are indigenous, speakers and very, they've been doing this a long time. And I'm not picking on them. I'm just trying to make a point that there's still an overriding patriarchal imprint on their commentary, or their bias and prejudice. And I understand that. Believe me, I understand what happened to him. I used to read about this incessantly as a kid, what happened to the Native Americans in the U.S. But at the same time, at some point, we all got to let the stories go.
Exactly.
And part of the stories are, the lesser gods came and mated with our women and created hybrids and whatever these stories are, to be present now.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
What us here and now, and what are we going to do with the time that we've got? We don't
what are you
need
gonna
to
do?
be victims.
What are you going to do with the time you got?
I have no. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I'll get huge satisfaction out of carpentry and any sort of creativity. Like it gets to a point sometimes where you be in the shed making something or at work, and things just sort of flow, and you look at what you've actually produced, something from consciousness to a solid object, and something that somebody can use, something that somebody can live in. You know, it's so yeah. I don't think I'll. Well, I don't know. Who knows what the future will hold?
And it has a consciousness, right?
Yeah, I'd like to influence the building industry as much as I can. There's so many good methods of solving, like I was told you in the last chat we had about earth chips, that building houses out of recycled materials and making things so that it's easy for people, showing people a way to do it themselves, showing people that you don't have to be spending all your money on power bills and supermarkets and everything. Look, this is how we can come together as a community or individually and be self-sufficient. And that's just such a, I'd really like to get that going a bit more.
I think there's going to be more and more community. That's one thing. I think there's going to be more and more tribal, tribal frequency type community. Like even if there's more quarantine and lockdown, I think that's already happening. I got to say this, Bruce, the Soulogy comic, and everybody enjoys his comments. He says, what do you want to do? Like to remodel buses? Because we just got this bus, which I've been cleaning all day.
Oh, mate, I'd love to come over.
I've been cleaning it all day. I still got one more good cleaning to do, and then I'm going to start, I don't know, just a little bit at a time.
Spent the last sort of probably 2 or 3 years rebuilding my work van, because I've been working with another mate where installing wood heaters, where I just jump in. We got a little Volkswagen Beetle. I just drive that to his place in the morning.
I had one of those
and jump in with him. But
I had one. Oh, you a Beetle? You had a Volkswagen Beetle?
Yeah, a little 69. We've got, so that's my little car that I did run off to his place 69. In the morning.
Jesus Christ! When I was a kid, which would have been about 68, 69, they used to have billboards in my hometown, and it would have the Beetle, and it'd say $2,000. That's how much they were, $2,000, and they had it on the billboard. No, I thought you were talking about a Volkswagen bus. I had a Volkswagen bus when I was 15. I got my license. It only lasted about 5 months, but I destroyed it. But man, that was fun. That was fun.
So yeah, while I've been rebuilding my old Hi-Ace van, the Toyota, which is my normal work car, I've just been driving this little bug around everywhere. But I've just finished. I'm waiting on the engineer to give me the paperwork so I can register it now. So it's good. But the projects and things like that I used to love to dive into, used to just spend forever in the shed, just trying to make something. Now it just doesn't seem to matter anymore. I'm like, I'd rather sit under a tree. I'd rather go for a walk on the beach. I just, create things when I feel the need to, but not constantly huge projects like that anymore. Yeah.
Well, it's been a while for me. My only one's been Soulogy for 9 years.
Wow, that's a success.
One thing that's about to happen now, because I hate to even mention it because I've said it for 2.5 years, but we are going to have a website here pretty quick. It looks really good. Marina Govier's doing it, and I want to kind of launch it with the David Icke interview, like maybe 3 or 4 days before the David Icke interview. It just feels right, but I guess it'll happen in divine timing. But it looks like we're getting really close to that. It won't be like the full scale thing like I've talked about, but it will be eventually in time. Yeah, so
it's already powerful.
Yeah,
anything that can bring people together to share the true stories, like that's the magic.
Yeah, it's
the real everyday people talking about pain, talking about what shattered them, like showing themselves when they're on their knees. Man, some of the people that the honesty of talking openly about. I mean, that's what inspired me to come on. Like normally I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. Like public speaking. that's like, no way. I just want to be in the background, you know. But to see people that are going through living hell now, and they're sharing it, and they're just the honesty.
Yeah.
It does something to you inside. It's just like,
Yeah, it
man,
does.
yeah,
It does. And I'd like to see, whether it's soulogy or whatever, more and more and more of that exposed. Because really, if that type of frequency was granted the type of platform all this bullshit is, even if it was like 1/3 of it, it would light people up. It would inspire people. It would move people to be true to themselves, and that's really the truth. It is. I mean, we've watched it happen in this community for 9 years. People stepping up, man. I mean, just like, it's amazing, especially this year. Yeah, this year is like, it's just amazing watching, particularly these women, stepping up.
Yep.
But now, even recently, the last couple of months, there's been a lot of strong, new. I say new because it's not the old alpha male, but masculine energy coming out. And a lot of androgynous energy, which I guess ultimately
energy's energy, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody, including. I just saw something come through here. I want to just say this real quick. So this is the electronics. Let's see. Sorry. Yeah, that's him. Jordan Smith. Thank you for the contribution. We get a lot of what people might consider nominal contributions, but they really add up. And there, to me, it's not about the amount; it's about the energy.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we're able to do what we're doing. And I'm telling you, man, we rolled into town from Sedona. We had about $120 left when we got here, but we came with a bus.
They're always like that.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are in that situation now.
And when you surrender to it, it's just like it flows so naturally. You don't need to worry about tomorrow.
It comes. What we need comes. It's when we fret over it and worry about it and stress over it, or try to force it, it doesn't come.
Or want more than we need.
Well, true.
Like one of those quotes, I think it was a Native American thing. Like somebody said, "What is poison?" And the answer was anything over and above what we need. Is whether it's
true that burdens are blessings, and blessings are burdens.
Yep.
Like too much. That's why to me, failures are far more beneficial than successes.
It's the hard days that make you.
How's your family doing? Everybody good?
They're really good, thank you. They're good.
We have to meet them sometime.
Yeah, I keep saying to Nessa, "Are you going to come on? You got to come on." But nah, she's very, very reserved and quiet.
Well, if she ever gets a wild hair, tell her we'd love to have her on, man.
Yeah, it might happen one day.
All right, brother. You take care. Thanks,
mate.
Take care.
You too.